Everybody loves a bargain, and if you're watching this video, you probably love to travel too. Stick around for my top 15 travel hacks to help you save money on your trips without sacrificing quality. A good place to start is booking flights. You may already know this, but from my own experience from speaking to friends, not everybody knows this cool tip. So, I like to use Google Flights to look for cheap destinations. And what's cool about this site is that there's a world map. And if you're not fussy where you want to go, you can select where you want to fly from and then select anywhere. Put in your dates and it will show you all the prices of the destinations on the map. I'll often see where has the best deals and book my flights depending on that. For example, I've never been to Lyon. The flights are super cheap. I pick what time I want to fly out. There's normally other times and airline options, but this one suits me. I do the same for the return and then book it. The earlier you fly out, often the cheaper it is, and the time of year makes a big difference too. You may have heard that searching for flights in incognito mode is a good idea, as airline operators will often increase the prices of the flights if they see you've been looking, but I believe this is just a myth. The same applies for which day you book your flights. It doesn't really matter, but if it makes you feel better, some people believe it's Sundays or Tuesdays. If you're not strapped for time and you fancy visiting another country, then consider a stopover. We've done this a heap of times and it often works out cheaper than flying direct. For example, we spent 2 nights in Delhi on our way home from the pool, as it worked out cheaper in the long run. It also meant we got to experience another country, it broke up the long journey, and we even had time to visit a wonder of the world, the Taj Mahal. This suggestion might sound a little bit controversial, so I'll leave it up to you if you want to do this, but consider using third-party providers when booking flights such as gotogate.com. We used these guys when we booked our flights to the Faroe Islands and it was great. Or if you're after a package holiday, consider companies like Love Holidays. We went on a really nice all-inclusive to Turkey with them. I've used companies like these many times and it's always worked out. Just make sure you get your flight details so you know what to enter on the airline's check-in in page. And make sure when you book these things, do it with a credit card, as you're more likely to get a refund if something goes wrong. I use booking.com when booking accommodation when travelling. That's because they've got a great reward system called Genius Discount. If you complete 15 stays of them within 2 years, you can get Genius Level 3, which means you can get up to 20% of room rates and sometimes complimentary breakfast and room upgrades. Occasionally, they'll email you 10% off codes as well. Another good tip is to compare the desktop price with the mobile price, because for some reason the mobile price can be a lot cheaper. The same applies for excursions. We saved a bit of money when whale watching in Iceland. More often than not, it's cheaper to book your excursions when you actually arrive at your destination. If you book them on websites before you go, it's often going to be more expensive. That's because they take their commission and they know people are prepared to pay for it. I don't think I've ever not gone on an excursion because it's been fully booked. Plus, you'll have the option to barter for a better deal, and there's normally multiple tour operators anyway. If it's something very specific and you're worried about it, it might be a good idea to ask for advice on Facebook forums. Whenever I book flights or accommodation, for example, I'll look on cashback sites like Quidco. It might not be huge amounts, but it all adds up and only takes seconds. You could get a pretty decent amount if your trip is quite expensive. Before I go to a new destination, I'll often join a Facebook group related to it. This way you can get great money saving tips and insider information before you arrive. When we went to Svalbard, we met a guy who had spoken to in a Facebook group. He showed us around the town and took us on excursions for free, which would have cost us hundreds. He even cooked us dinner. If you're booking a package holiday, consider booking an all-inclusive. Yes, it might be more expensive, but you'll probably save money in the long run. It takes the stress out of finding places to eat, you don't have to tip, and you can eat and drink as much as you like. I've stayed in all-inclusives before and not had to worry about spending a single penny. and it's quite a nice feeling not having to worry if you've stayed inside your budget or not. If I'm not staying at an all-inclusive and I'm on a weekend break, for example, I'll always try and book a hotel that includes breakfast. This way you are set up for the day, and I know it's frowned upon, but you can pinch a few items to take with you for the day. For example, in the very expensive country of the Faroe Islands, I made several salmon sandwiches which totally sorted me out from what would have been a very expensive meal. Other ways to save money is eating street food and eating in local restaurants. That's great about Jordan, is that the street food is so cheap. This falafel and Pepsi came to 1 JD, which is about £1.20, and they've got falafels further north, about 25p. So I'll normally only take one piece of hand luggage and that's it. I've bought myself a really spacious backpack. I can fit loads in it. And the good thing about it is that it can scrunch down so it can go inside those airline bag size checker things that airports seem to have. Also means that I don't have to pay crazy fees for hold luggage. There's no chance of the airline losing my bags. And as soon as we get to the destination, we can just go. Don't have to wait around for our bag to come out on the carousel. Same applies when we return home. We can just get on the move and get home as quick as possible. If you're strapped for space in your bag at the airport, it's a good idea to wear things like baggy hoodies and big coats with big pockets. That way you can just jam as many things in there as possible and you can free up more space in your bag. And if worse comes to worse, you can always just put on all your clothes and at least you won't be cold on the plane. Packing cubes are also a good idea, and if you don't have those, rolling your clothes is meant to be the best way to fit more things inside your bag. And if I'm taking an extra pair of shoes in my bag, I'll jam as many pairs of my socks inside the shoes as possible, just so that I'm making the best use of space inside my bag. If a transfer to your hotel from the airport isn't included, I would always try and get public transport. You'll save a lot of money compared to expensive taxis. But if a taxi is your only option, I'd try and agree on a price before you get in. That way there won't be any nasty surprises when you arrive at your destination. And it's also a good idea to try and barter, get the price down a bit. And if it's a small airport, sometimes it's a good idea to walk a little bit outside the airport. That way you won't have to pay for the airport surcharge. Check to see if there's tourist packages for the country or city you're in. So if you come to Jordan, it might be a good idea to get this Jordan Pass. It gets you money off into Petra and a bunch of other attractions around Jordan, and it also covers the cost of the visa into the country. This costs 70 dinar and you can get it online. When you have the option to pay in your home currency or the local currency, always choose the local currency, otherwise you'll get a terrible exchange rate. I tend not to bother getting money out before I go abroad. Instead, I have a bank card that doesn't charge me when I'm using it overseas. However, most ATM machines will charge you. I just try and find the ATM machine that has the lowest transaction fee, and I'll try and take out big chunks each time, just so that I don't have to pay all those multiple transaction fees. And try and find ATM machines that are connected to legitimate banks. Also, try and match the symbol on your bank card to the symbol that's displayed on the ATM machine, like plus for example. It might not always save you money, but I think it will stand you a better chance. If you travel a lot, it might be worth your while getting a credit card that offers you air miles like American Express. Yes, there'll be a monthly subscription, but the more you use it, the more miles you'll accrue, and it might work out better in the long run. You just got to work out whether it's worth it or not. Don't be scared to ask for an upgrade. If you can offer the hotel or company something they might be interested in, like social media content or perhaps a YouTube video, they might offer you money off or even upgrade you to a better room. I've done this a few times and I've been offered better deals on excursions and moved to the best room in the hotel. You've got nothing to lose. So there you have it. I hope these suggestions have been useful and I've saved you a little bit of money along the way. If you have any other suggestions, I'd genuinely love to hear about them, so hopefully I can save a little bit of extra money for my travels. I've put all the links from this video in the description, so until next time, happy travels and I'll see you soon. Cheers!